Good evening, everybody. Tonight's video is going to be about the everlasting friendship between SpongeBob and Patrick. Before we dive into the video, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed to the channel and left a comment down below letting me know where you're watching from. Now, let's waste no more time and begin. In the heart of Bikini Bottom, where the ocean floor shimmers with light and laughter drifts through the bubbles, there lives a sponge and a starfish whose friendship is as timeless as the tides. SpongeBob SquarePants and Patrick Star are more than just neighbours. They are best friends, bound together by a bond so strong that it has endured every challenge, every silly argument, and every adventure the sea has thrown their way. To understand SpongeBob and Patrick's friendship, one must first go back to their earliest days. Though the show rarely lingers on their childhood, small glimpses tell us everything we need to know. In Friend or Foe, when Mr. Krabs recalls his past with Plankton, we see that SpongeBob and Patrick were already part of each other's lives, even back then, living close to one another and playing happily in Bikini Bottom. Their laughter was the soundtrack of their youth, and the joy they found in the simplest games created the foundation for a lifelong connection. The closeness of their homes, SpongeBob's pineapple right next door to Patrick's rock, is more than just a convenient arrangement. It reflects how inseparable they've always been. From their childhood to their adult lives, they've never strayed far from one another. The very geography of Bikini Bottom seems to honour their friendship, placing them side by side so they can share every moment together. What truly defines SpongeBob and Patrick's friendship is the way they complement each other. SpongeBob, with his boundless optimism and enthusiasm, sees the world as a playground full of opportunities. Patrick, with his slow, carefree outlook, approaches life with simplicity. Together, they create a balance that is both hilarious and heartwarming. Where SpongeBob dreams big, Patrick grounds him with a gentle, simplicity. Where Patrick drifts aimlessly, SpongeBob inspires him to try. Their differences are not weaknesses. They are the glue that holds them together. Even as children, this dynamic was present. Flashbacks in episodes like The Secret Box and the Fry Cook games show that their personalities have always meshed in this way. SpongeBob often takes the lead, coming up with ideas or adventures, while Patrick is the loyal companion, always ready to follow along, even if he doesn't always understand what's going on. Yet, it is this very loyalty that makes him so important to SpongeBob. SpongeBob never has to explain why he wants to do something. Patrick is simply there, ready to join in. There is also a deep innocence in their friendship, a purity that makes it so relatable. They don't need complicated reasons to spend time together. Sitting under a tree with their jellyfishing nets, blowing bubbles, or just lying on the sand watching the ocean currents, they find joy in each other's company without needing more. This childlike wonder, carried into their adult lives, is what makes their friendship timeless. While others in Bikini Bottom may roll their eyes at their antics, SpongeBob and Patrick remind us of the beauty in simple companionship. One of the earliest episodes to highlight this dynamic is jellyfishing. When SpongeBob and Patrick invite Squidward to join them in their favourite pastime, it becomes clear that jellyfishing is more than just a hobby. It's their way of celebrating their bond. The two of them move in sync, laughing and chasing jellyfish across the fields with the enthusiasm of kids at play. Even though Squidward doesn't share their joy, the moment shows how perfectly SpongeBob and Patrick fit together. They don't need anyone else to validate their fun. As long as they're together, the world feels complete. But perhaps the most important part of their friendship is how safe they feel with one another. SpongeBob can be his truest self around Patrick, silly, emotional, energetic, or vulnerable, without fear of judgment. Patrick may not always understand SpongeBob's emotions, but he is always there to listen, nod, and meow an occasional yep in support. Likewise, Patrick's carefree and sometimes clueless nature is never mocked by SpongeBob. Instead, SpongeBob embraces it, seeing Patrick's simplicity as part of his charm. In each other's eyes, they are perfect just the way they are. Their friendship also carries the kind of resilience that only comes with true love. From childhood to adulthood, from jellyfishing fields to adventures far beyond Bikini Bottom, they have remained constant. Fights happen, misunderstandings arise, but they always find their way back to one another. It's as if the ocean itself is determined to keep them together, reminding them, and us, that true friendship is unshakable. As the sun sets on Conch Street and the ocean glows in golden light, one can often see SpongeBob and Patrick sitting outside their homes, laughing about something only they understand. Their bond doesn't need to be explained, it is felt. Two friends under the sea, united not by circumstance, but by choice, by love, and by the kind of connection that lasts a lifetime. In the story of SpongeBob SquarePants, there are many characters, many adventures, and many laughs. But at its heart, there is always this, a sponge and a starfish, side by side, reminding us all of the power of friendship. Among all the hobbies and adventures SpongeBob and Patrick share, none is more iconic or more perfectly suited to their friendship than jellyfishing. To the casual observer, jellyfishing might seem like nothing more than running around with nets, chasing glowing sea creatures across the fields of Bikini Bottom. But to SpongeBob and Patrick, jellyfishing is something deeper. It is their sacred ritual, their favourite escape, and a joyful tradition that has defined their friendship since the earliest days. The jellyfish fields stretch wide and endless, glowing softly with the pinks and purples of drifting jellyfish. To SpongeBob and Patrick, these fields are more than just a location on the map. They are a playground of endless possibility. Here, they laugh, stumble, and chase their translucent friends without a care in the world. For the two of them, jellyfishing is never about winning or catching the most. It's about being together, side by side, sharing a hobby that fills their hearts with happiness. The episode Jellyfishing captures this perfectly. Excited to share their joy, SpongeBob and Patrick invite Squidward to join them on one of their trips to the fields. They pack their nets with giddy anticipation, bouncing with excitement. To them, jellyfishing is the pinnacle of fun, and they want their neighbour to share in it too. Of course, Squidward does not see things the same way. The episode unfolds with classic slapstick as Squidward suffers mishap after mishap, while SpongeBob and Patrick remain blissfully cheerful. What's striking, though, is that no amount of Squidward's frustration dulls their enthusiasm. To SpongeBob and Patrick, jellyfishing is always fun, because the fun comes from doing it together. There is something almost meditative in their trips to jellyfish fields. The way they skip across the grass, the rhythm of their nets swishing through the water, the bursts of laughter as jellyfish buzz past their heads, it's a ritual that brings them closer every time. Jellyfishing embodies the very essence of their friendship: carefree joy, shared experiences, and unconditional acceptance. And yet, jellyfishing also shows the different sides of their personalities. SpongeBob approaches it with eagerness and precision, sometimes treating it like a craft he wants to master. Patrick, on the other hand, is more casual. His technique is sloppy, his timing is off, and sometimes he trips over himself in the excitement. But SpongeBob never criticizes him for it. Instead, he cheers Patrick on, celebrating every catch as if it were a victory. For SpongeBob, jellyfishing is not about skill. It's about being with his best friend. And Patrick, in his own way, understands this too. This shared passion even finds its way into other moments of their lives. In Tea, at the Tree Dome, when SpongeBob first meets Sandy, it's Patrick who gives him advice, albeit not the most helpful, before SpongeBob bravely enters Sandy's tree dome. Their dynamic in that moment mirrors their jellyfishing adventures. Patrick may not always know the right answer, but he is always present to support his friend. The jellyfish nets they carry are symbolic of this. They may not always catch what they're chasing, but they're always in it together. Jellyfishing also serves as a reminder of the simplicity of their friendship. While others in Bikini Bottom chase after money, status, or personal goals, SpongeBob and Patrick find joy in something as pure as running through a field with nets. Their happiness doesn't require anything complicated. It is born from laughter, companionship, and the beauty of sharing a moment. This simplicity is what makes their friendship so relatable. Who among us doesn't have a pastime, no matter how small, that becomes more meaningful when shared with someone we love? One of the most memorable examples of their jellyfishing trips comes in Club SpongeBob. Stranded in the kelp forest with Squidward, the two friends still carry their jellyfishing nets, treating the experience like another silly adventure. Even when danger looms, they find comfort in the familiar. Their nets are not just tools, they are symbols of their shared optimism. Even Squidward's constant rejection of jellyfishing never diminishes their joy. In fact, it often strengthens it. Each time Squidward groans, complains, or suffers misfortune in jellyfish fields, SpongeBob and Patrick's laughter grows even louder. Not out of cruelty, but out of an innocence that cannot be shaken. They simply don't understand why Squidward doesn't enjoy jellyfishing, because for them, it is the epitome of fun. And perhaps that is the secret. Jellyfishing is not about the activity itself, but about the bond it represents. There is also something deeply wholesome about how jellyfishing ties them to nature. Surrounded by glowing jellyfish drifting gracefully through the water, SpongeBob and Patrick seem more peaceful here than anywhere else. Their laughter may be loud, their chases chaotic, but beneath it all lies a sense of harmony. They are part of something bigger than themselves, sharing a world that is vibrant, alive, and full of wonder. Jellyfishing allows them to connect not only with each other, but with the beauty of Bikini Bottom itself. At the end of a jellyfishing trip, when their nets are tired and their legs ache from running, SpongeBob and Patrick often collapse onto the soft ground, laughing until they can hardly breathe. In those moments, words aren't needed. The glow of jellyfish above, the sound of waves in the distance, and the comfort of sitting beside one another are enough. It is in these quiet endings, after the chaos of the chase, that their friendship shines brightest. For SpongeBob and Patrick, jellyfishing is not just a hobby. It is a tradition, a ritual, and a celebration of everything their friendship stands for. Joy, loyalty, and the pure magic of simply being together. If there is one thing that defines SpongeBob and Patrick's friendship above all else, it is their ability to laugh together. From the outside, their antics may seem strange, childish, or even nonsensical, but that is precisely what makes their bond so beautiful. In a world where many adults forget how to play, SpongeBob and Patrick remind us that silliness is not only allowed, difference bland, it is essential. Their shared laughter is the foundation of their friendship, and it is what has carried them through countless adventures, misunderstandings, and ordinary days alike. One of the best examples of this silliness is the legendary Idiot Box episode. When SpongeBob and Patrick purchase a brand new television set, they surprise Squidward by throwing away the television itself and keeping only the cardboard box. For most people, the television would be the treasure, but for SpongeBob and Patrick, the box is far more exciting. Inside, they unleash their imaginations, pretending to scale snowy mountains, drive race cars, and explore the stars. From the outside, all Squidward hears are their sound effects and endless laughter. To him, it is nonsense. To SpongeBob and Patrick, it is magic. This moment captures the essence of their friendship. They don't need expensive things or elaborate plans. They just need each other, and a cardboard box becomes the gateway to infinite fun. Their silliness is also seen in how they approach danger. In Shanghai, when they encounter the Flying Dutchman, SpongeBob and Patrick don't react with fear like others might. Instead, they treat the ghostly pirate almost like a new playmate, eagerly trying to impress him and offering their help with enthusiasm. Their innocence may frustrate the Dutchman, but it shows how their friendship transforms even frightening experiences into opportunities for fun. With Patrick by his side, SpongeBob never feels afraid, and with SpongeBob leading the way, Patrick always feels excited. Their laughter protects them from fear, turning the unknown into an adventure. Another classic example is I Had an Accident, where SpongeBob becomes terrified of getting hurt after breaking his butt while sandboarding. Convinced that the outside world is too dangerous, SpongeBob refuses to leave his house. Patrick, of course, cannot accept a life without play. He and Sandy concoct increasingly silly schemes to lure SpongeBob outside, including dressing up as a gorilla. The plan spirals into complete absurdity, culminating in SpongeBob being chased by a real gorilla and a horse. Yet, through all the chaos, Patrick never loses sight of the mission to bring laughter back into SpongeBob's life. His methods may be ridiculous, but his heart is pure. He knows SpongeBob needs silliness to feel like himself again. Their friendship thrives in these moments of absurdity because they share the same sense of humour. SpongeBob and Patrick laugh at things others might dismiss: bubble-blowing techniques, jellyfishing songs, or even the word underwear. Their joy comes from the fact that they understand each other. They don't need the rest of Bikini Bottom to join in. Their laughter is enough. Squidward may roll his eyes, Sandy may shake her head, and Mr. Krabs may grumble about wasted time, but for SpongeBob and Patrick, the world is brighter when they're being silly together. What makes this silliness so meaningful is that it's never about embarrassment or cruelty. Their jokes are not made at each other's expense. Instead, their laughter is inclusive, a celebration of their shared imagination. In Rockabye Bivalve, when they take on the roles of parents to a baby scallop, much of the humour comes from their childlike attempts to mimic adult responsibilities. Patrick, in particular, is hilariously lazy as the dad, spending his time watching television under a rock, while SpongeBob plays the doting mom. But beneath the comedy lies a deeper truth. Even in their silliest role-play, they are united. Their laughter keeps them connected, even when they stumble through responsibilities they don't fully understand. Silliness also helps them through mistakes. In Big Pink Loser, Patrick tries to copy SpongeBob in everything he does, from working at the Krusty Krab to cleaning windows. His clumsy attempts end in chaos, yet SpongeBob never grows frustrated. Instead, he laughs along, supporting Patrick even when things go wrong. The humour of the episode shows that in their friendship, failure is never something to be ashamed of. It is simply another chance to laugh and grow together. Even in quieter moments, SpongeBob and Patrick find silliness everywhere. Whether blowing bubbles into shapes, creating elaborate stories about jellyfish, or simply laughing at their own inside jokes, their humour never runs dry. This silliness is not a sign of immaturity, but of their ability to see joy where others might see nothing. For them, life doesn't need to be serious to be meaningful. In fact, it is their laughter that makes life meaningful. And yet, their silliness also teaches valuable lessons. In Idiot Box, their imagination reminds us that joy is not found in possessions, but in creativity and companionship. In I Had an Accident, Patrick's persistence shows that fear should not steal away laughter. In Rockabye Bivalve, their roleplay reveals that humour can lighten even the heaviest of responsibilities. Each silly adventure carries a truth. Friendship is not about being serious all the time. It's about finding someone who makes even the strangest moments feel joyful. As the day ends on Conch Street, SpongeBob and Patrick can often be found sitting side by side, laughing at something that only they understand. To an outsider, it might look like nonsense, but to them, it is everything. Their laughter is their bond, their language, and their way of turning even the smallest moment into an adventure. Because in the end, the silly side of SpongeBob and Patrick's friendship isn't just about being funny. It's about finding joy in each other, no matter what. And that joy, shared freely and endlessly, is what makes their friendship truly unbreakable. True friendship is tested not when life is easy, but when challenges arise. For SpongeBob and Patrick, their bond has been tested countless times, yet no matter how unusual the situation, they always find their way back to one another. Their loyalty is what makes their friendship so powerful. Through triumphs, failures, misunderstandings, and even competitions, they stand side by side, proving time and again that nothing can tear them apart. One of the clearest examples of their loyalty is found in the Fry Cook games. In this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick enter into a heated competition at the annual event. SpongeBob represents the Krusty Krab, while Patrick, somewhat surprisingly, represents the Chum Bucket. At first, the two support one another, thrilled simply to be participating together. But as the games progress, tensions rise. What begins as playful competition quickly devolves into petty insults and even a food fight-style rivalry. Their friendship seems to crack under the weight of competition, with each determined to win. And yet, when the final moments arrive, their bond shines through. In the climactic scene, as they wrestle, their clothing is ripped away, revealing that they are both wearing the same undergarments, a silly, childlike reminder of their connection. The absurdity breaks the tension, and they collapse into laughter, realizing that their friendship matters far more than any trophy or title. This moment shows that even when anger clouds their vision, their loyalty runs too deep to be shaken. Competition may have temporarily pitted them against one another, but love brings them back together. Another episode that highlights their loyalty is Big Pink Loser. In this story, Patrick feels envious of SpongeBob's many awards, longing to have recognition of his own. SpongeBob, always eager to help his best friend, encourages Patrick to find something he excels at. When Patrick fails at almost everything, SpongeBob still stands by him, offering support and kindness instead of ridicule. Eventually, Patrick decides to simply mimic SpongeBob in everything he does, from cleaning to working at the Krusty Krab. While this causes chaos, SpongeBob never turns his back on Patrick. Instead, he gently helps Patrick find his own way, showing that true friendship is not about letting someone struggle alone, but about lifting them up until they can stand tall again. Loyalty also shines through in the smaller, everyday moments. In Texas, when Sandy grows homesick and decides to return to her homeland, SpongeBob is devastated. He cannot imagine life without her. It is Patrick who stands by him, helping to plan a farewell that quickly turns into an attempt to convince Sandy to stay. Though their methods are comical and often misguided, Patrick's loyalty to SpongeBob never wavers. He knows how much Sandy means to his friend, and he is willing to stand beside SpongeBob through the entire ordeal. Their teamwork, even when clumsy, demonstrates how loyalty doesn't always require perfection, only presence. In Christmas Who, SpongeBob takes it upon himself to bring the joy of Christmas to Bikini Bottom. Patrick is with him every step of the way. When the town doubts SpongeBob's optimism, Patrick refuses to abandon him. Instead, he helps decorate, sings carols, and believes wholeheartedly in his friend's vision. The sight of Patrick in a Santa hat, grinning beside SpongeBob, is a testament to the fact that loyalty is not about understanding every detail, but about standing beside your friend because you believe in them. Loyalty also means being present during times of fear. In I Had an Accident, when SpongeBob refuses to leave his house after his sandboarding accident, Patrick joins him, determined to keep his friend company. Though his methods, including dressing as a gorilla, are hilariously unhelpful, the intention behind them is pure. Patrick cannot stand the thought of SpongeBob being lonely or afraid. His loyalty compels him to stay by SpongeBob's side, even if he doesn't know exactly how to help. This moment captures the truth of friendship. Sometimes, being loyal doesn't mean having the right answers. It means refusing to leave someone alone in their struggle. Even in episodes where they briefly fight or drift apart, their loyalty always pulls them back together. In I'm with Stupid, Patrick pretends SpongeBob is unintelligent to impress his parents, and SpongeBob goes along with it to protect Patrick's feelings. Though the situation is embarrassing, it demonstrates how far SpongeBob is willing to go to support his friend. Likewise, in Best Frenemies, when the two of them temporarily clash over access to a new drink, they quickly realize that their bond is too important to risk over something so trivial. What makes their loyalty so touching is that it is unconditional. SpongeBob and Patrick do not stand by each other only when it is convenient. They do so even when it is difficult, even when it means sacrificing pride or enduring embarrassment. Their loyalty is rooted in love, not circumstance. No matter the situation, they choose one another, again and again. At the end of the day, SpongeBob and Patrick's loyalty is what keeps their friendship strong. Whether they are competing in games, supporting each other through envy, or simply sitting together under the stars, their devotion never falters. For them, loyalty is not a conscious effort, it is instinct. They do not have to think about whether they will stand by each other, they simply do. As the ocean currents flow gently past Conch Street, SpongeBob and Patrick can often be found together, sometimes laughing, sometimes crying, sometimes simply sitting in silence. But whatever the mood, one truth remains constant. They are loyal to one another in every moment, in every way. And it is that loyalty, tested and proven time and again, that makes their friendship truly unbreakable. Even the strongest friendships are not without storms. For SpongeBob and Patrick, their bond is not defined by the absence of arguments, but by their ability to overcome them. They may bicker, misunderstand one another, or let jealousy creep in, but every quarrel ultimately proves the same truth. Nothing can truly break them apart. Their fights, though sometimes silly or exaggerated, are always followed by forgiveness, reminding us that unconditional love means finding a way back to each other, no matter what. One of the clearest examples comes from I'm with Stupid. In this episode, Patrick's parents are set to visit, and Patrick, feeling insecure, decides he wants to impress them. To do so, he asks SpongeBob to act stupid in front of them, making Patrick look smarter by comparison. SpongeBob, ever eager to help his best friend, agrees. At first, the act is harmless, with SpongeBob playing along for Patrick's sake. But as the evening continues, SpongeBob's exaggerated foolishness begins to weigh on him, especially when Patrick joins in, mocking him along with his parents. The situation grows tense, as SpongeBob's feelings are hurt. Yet the beauty of this moment is not in the fight itself, but in what follows. When Patrick learns that the visitors weren't even his real parents, the whole charade collapses, and SpongeBob's loyalty is once again clear. Instead of holding a grudge, SpongeBob forgives Patrick's insensitivity, recognizing that his friend's actions came from insecurity rather than malice. Their reconciliation is swift, showing that for them, forgiveness is always stronger than anger. Another memorable clash occurs in New Student Starfish. When Patrick joins SpongeBob at Mrs. Puff's boating school, the two are thrilled at first. SpongeBob is excited to share his world with Patrick, while Patrick simply enjoys spending time with his best friend in a new environment. But their different approaches quickly cause tension. Patrick's disruptive antics frustrate SpongeBob, and SpongeBob's attempts to rein Patrick in only make things worse. The two friends argue, and their disagreement escalates until they're no longer speaking to each other. Yet, as always, the fight does not last. By the end of the episode, SpongeBob and Patrick reconcile, realizing that their friendship means more than any misunderstanding. The message is clear. Even when they irritate each other, their bond is too precious to lose. Their ability to forgive shows the strength of their connection. AC, a reminder that real friendship doesn't demand perfection, only love. Jealousy also tests their bond at times. In the fry-cook games, as we explored earlier, competition drives a wedge between them. Their insults and bickering escalate into a full-blown rivalry. But when the absurdity of the situation dawns on them, laughter replaces anger. They choose each other over victory, proving that even jealousy cannot overpower their loyalty. Similarly, in Best Frenemies, a rivalry over a new drink called Kelp Shake temporarily pits them against one another. At first, they compete for access, treating each other as adversaries. Yet, as the story progresses, they realize that their bond is worth far more than a silly product. By the end, they join forces, working together rather than against each other. Once again, forgiveness triumphs. Sometimes, their arguments are rooted not in jealousy or competition, but in miscommunication. In The Secret Box, Patrick's mysterious box drives SpongeBob into a frenzy of curiosity. SpongeBob cannot stand the thought of his best friend keeping a secret from him, and his obsession with discovering what's inside creates tension between them. Patrick, meanwhile, takes pride in guarding his secret. The conflict builds until SpongeBob, overwhelmed by curiosity, attempts to take a peek. Though Patrick is upset, the reveal at the end that the box contains nothing more than a piece of string diffuses the situation in classic SpongeBob fashion. Their laughter replaces their anger, showing that even secrets cannot truly divide them. What makes these arguments so wholesome is how quickly they fade compared to the joy of reconciliation. SpongeBob and Patrick may fight, but their apologies are genuine, and their forgiveness is immediate. They never allow anger to linger, nor do they hold grudges. Their disagreements are real, but they are also fleeting, overshadowed by the love they have for each other. This resilience is what makes their friendship so relatable. Every close bond, no matter how strong, encounters friction. What matters is not avoiding conflict, but choosing to forgive. SpongeBob and Patrick remind us that mistakes and fights do not end a friendship, they strengthen it, because each reconciliation proves that love is stronger than pride. At the end of the day, no matter what words are spoken in anger, SpongeBob and Patrick always return to what matters most: being together. Whether sitting on the sand, nets in hand, or laughing at something only they understand, they know that nothing, not competition, jealousy, or secrets, can separate them for long. Their arguments are not signs of weakness, but of humanity, or, in this case, sponge and starfishity. They show that even the closest friends sometimes clash, but what makes their bond unbreakable is the certainty that forgiveness will follow. SpongeBob and Patrick's friendship is not perfect, it is real. And it is this reality, full of flaws and reconciliations, that makes it so beautiful. For most days, SpongeBob and Patrick are perfectly content with the familiar rhythm of life in Bikini Bottom, jellyfishing in the fields, bubble-blowing contests, or sitting together on Conch Street laughing at the smallest things. But sometimes, their adventures take them far beyond their neighbourhood, into forests, across oceans, and even into strange new worlds. What makes these journeys special is not the places themselves, but the way SpongeBob and Patrick experience them together. No matter where they go, their friendship turns the unknown into something joyful, proving that home is not a location, but the person you share it with. One of their most beloved adventures is the camping episode. Determined to show Squidward how much fun camping can be, SpongeBob and Patrick set up right outside their houses. For them, adventure doesn't require travelling far. Even the patch of sand a few feet from home becomes an exciting campsite when they're together. They roast marshmallows, sing songs, and laugh into the night, showing that the spirit of adventure lives in their friendship. When the threatening sea bear appears, SpongeBob and Patrick hilariously outsmart it with their quirky safety rules, while Squidward, as usual, suffers the consequences of not playing along. This episode highlights how their companionship transforms even the simplest setting into a grand adventure. In Club SpongeBob, their adventure takes them deep into the kelp forest. When SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward are launched into the wilderness in a giant clam shell, SpongeBob and Patrick treat the whole ordeal like another game. While Squidward panics, the two best friends find joy in consulting their magic conch shell, treating it as a wise leader in their little club. Their unshakable faith in the toy, narration, and in each other, contrasts perfectly with Squidward's frustration. In the end, their trust is rewarded when food arrives, just as the shell predicted. The adventure shows how SpongeBob and Patrick's ability to embrace silliness and trust each other turns fear into fun, proving that optimism and companionship can overcome any challenge. Their adventures sometimes reach truly epic scales. In Atlantis SquarePants, SpongeBob and Patrick join their friends on a journey to the fabled lost city of Atlantis. For many, Atlantis represents culture, history, and science, but for SpongeBob and Patrick, it becomes a playground for their curiosity and creativity. Patrick is enamored with the world's oldest bubble, while SpongeBob gushes over the beauty of the city. Though their antics once again cause chaos, their excitement is pure and contagious. Even in the most extraordinary setting, SpongeBob and Patrick remain themselves, two best friends experiencing wonder side by side. Then there is the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, 2004, which brought their friendship to one of its most dramatic and heartfelt stages. When King Neptune's crown is stolen, SpongeBob and Patrick embark on a dangerous quest to Shell City to retrieve it. The journey takes them far from Bikini Bottom into unfamiliar and frightening territory where they face sea monsters, biker gangs, and even the scorching heat of the surface world. Through it all, their friendship is tested but never broken. One of the most touching moments comes when they are captured and seemingly doomed in Shell City. As they lie drying out under a heat lamp, SpongeBob and Patrick hold hands and accept their fate together. Their final act is to sing the Goofy Goober song, turning despair into laughter one last time. This moment captures the essence of their bond. Even in the face of danger, they find strength in each other. And of course, their story doesn't end there. Their courage and loyalty ultimately save the day, proving that the greatest treasure of their journey was not the crown itself, but their unshakable friendship. Not all of their adventures are large in scale. Some are small, but just as meaningful. In the secret box, Patrick guards his mysterious box, leading SpongeBob into a frenzy of curiosity. Though the adventure is confined to Patrick's rock, the drama, the secrecy, and the final reveal, a simple piece of string, turn it into a journey of trust and laughter. It shows that even in the smallest spaces, SpongeBob and Patrick can create an adventure, because their imagination is limitless. What ties all these adventures together is the way SpongeBob and Patrick approach them. Where others see danger, they see opportunity. Where others see chaos, they see fun. And where others see the unknown, they see a chance to share another moment together. Their optimism and loyalty transform every journey into a story worth telling. Even Squidward, who often begrudgingly tags along, cannot deny that their adventures are unforgettable. Though he rarely enjoys them in the moment, the truth is clear. SpongeBob and Patrick's joy has a way of spilling over, shaping the experience for everyone involved. Their friendship is so strong that it colours the world around them, turning forests, cities, and even strange new worlds into extensions of their bond. At the end of these journeys, whether it's a camping trip outside their front door or an epic quest across the ocean, SpongeBob and Patrick always return to Conch Street. They collapse on the sand, laugh about their adventures, and dream about what comes next, because for them, the location doesn't matter. What matters is that they faced it together. Their adventures remind us that friendship is the greatest journey of all. With the right person by your side, even the most ordinary day can feel extraordinary, and even the most frightening challenge can be faced with laughter. For SpongeBob and Patrick, life itself is an adventure, and it is their friendship that makes every step of it unforgettable. In the great tapestry of friendship, balance is often what makes a bond endure. For SpongeBob and Patrick, this balance is at the very core of their relationship. SpongeBob, ever the optimist, approaches life with energy, determination, and a boundless eagerness to learn and improve. Patrick, by contrast, is slower, simpler, and often more relaxed about the world around him. On the surface, these differences might seem like opposites. Yet together, they create a harmony that makes their friendship stronger, each filling in the spaces the other leaves open. SpongeBob's optimism is one of his most defining traits. Whether it's flipping Krabby Patties at the Krusty Krab, attempting another boating exam at Mrs. Puff's school, or going jellyfishing, SpongeBob throws himself into everything with enthusiasm. He sees the world not as a series of problems, but as opportunities for fun and growth. This unshakable positivity often carries Patrick along, giving their adventures energy and direction. But Patrick's simplicity is equally important. While SpongeBob pushes forward with determination, Patrick reminds him to slow down and savour the moment. Patrick's relaxed attitude, though often mistaken for laziness or cluelessness, gives their friendship a grounding force. He doesn't overthink or overcomplicate. He simply lives in the moment, enjoying life as it comes. This helps SpongeBob, who can sometimes get too caught up in his excitement or ambition, to breathe and laugh without worry. A perfect example of this balance is found in Big Pink Loser. In this episode, Patrick feels left behind after seeing SpongeBob win award after award. SpongeBob, with his tireless work ethic and eagerness to excel, seems to embody success, while Patrick struggles to find his own accomplishments. Yet SpongeBob doesn't let his friend wallow in envy. Instead, he gently encourages Patrick, supporting him even as Patrick tries and fails at nearly everything. SpongeBob's optimism reassures Patrick, while Patrick's willingness to learn, however clumsy, deepens their bond. In the end, Patrick earns an award for doing what he does best, doing nothing better than anyone. What could have been a story of rivalry becomes one of balance, as SpongeBob's encouragement meets Patrick's simplicity in a way that celebrates them both. Another moment that reveals their complementary nature is Patrick Smartpants. When Patrick accidentally becomes intelligent after wearing brain-enhancing glasses, his personality changes dramatically. He speaks in complex sentences, pursues new hobbies, and even begins to drift away from SpongeBob. Their friendship falters because the balance they once had is broken. SpongeBob no longer has the goofy, simple Patrick who laughs at silly jokes and joins in on his fun. Instead, Patrick's newfound intelligence makes him condescending and distant. It isn't until Patrick loses his smartness and returns to his simple, carefree self that their friendship is restored. The episode beautifully shows that Patrick's simplicity isn't a weakness, it's an essential part of what makes their bond work. Patrick's simplicity also serves as a comfort to SpongeBob when he feels overwhelmed. In Texas, when Sandy contemplates leaving Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob grows emotional, struggling to imagine life without her. Patrick's responses are often simplistic and silly, but they serve to lighten the mood and remind SpongeBob not to give in to despair. His simple outlook acts as a buffer, ensuring SpongeBob doesn't become weighed down by sadness. Likewise, SpongeBob's optimism carries Patrick through moments of doubt. Patrick may not always believe in himself, but SpongeBob never stops believing in him. In the Fry Cook games, Patrick initially doubts his ability to compete against SpongeBob, but SpongeBob's energy draws him in. Even when they become rivals, it's clear that SpongeBob's competitive spirit inspires Patrick to try harder than he normally would. Their different outlooks push each other toward growth. Why? SpongeBob teaching Patrick to aim higher, Patrick teaching SpongeBob to enjoy the ride. This balance also extends to their everyday antics. SpongeBob might carefully plan their jellyfishing trips or bubble-blowing sessions, while Patrick shows up with his net or bubble wand, ready to go with the flow. SpongeBob's structure gives their fun a sense of direction, while Patrick's laid-back approach keeps things spontaneous. Without SpongeBob, Patrick's days might drift aimlessly. Without Patrick, SpongeBob's days might feel too rigid. Together, they create a rhythm that is joyful and fulfilling. Their balance is also reflected in how they handle Squidward. SpongeBob, optimistic to a fault, constantly tries to include Squidward in their fun. Patrick, more detached, simply accepts Squidward's grumpiness. Yet, when SpongeBob's feelings are hurt by Squidward's rejection, Patrick often steps in with a simple, comforting word or action. His lack of overthinking provides SpongeBob with the reassurance he needs. In this way, Patrick's simplicity protects SpongeBob's optimism from being crushed by disappointment. What makes their dynamic so wholesome is that neither tries to change the other. SpongeBob doesn't push Patrick to be more ambitious than he wants to be, and Patrick doesn't try to dim SpongeBob's enthusiasm. Instead, they accept each other as they are, celebrating the very differences that make them unique. Their friendship teaches us that balance doesn't mean sameness, it means harmony, where each person's strengths and weaknesses complement the other. At the end of the day, SpongeBob and Patrick are proof that opposites not only attract but also sustain. SpongeBob's optimism gives their friendship energy, while Patrick's simplicity gives it peace. SpongeBob pushes forward, Patrick slows down, and together they move through life with joy. When the sun sets over jellyfish fields and they sit side by side, nets at their sides, SpongeBob often fills the silence with plans, dreams, or stories. Patrick, with a simple smile, listens, occasionally chiming in with a silly remark that sends them both into fits of laughter. It is in these moments that the true beauty of their balance shines. SpongeBob's heart and Patrick's simplicity, woven together into a friendship that feels as natural and endless as the sea itself. At the heart of every lasting friendship lies growth. True friends not only share laughter and adventures, they also bring out the best in one another. For SpongeBob and Patrick, their bond is a constant exchange of encouragement, support, and belief. SpongeBob helps Patrick build confidence when he doubts himself, while Patrick gives SpongeBob courage and comfort when life feels overwhelming. Their friendship is more than fun and silliness. It is a source of growth, showing how love and support can shape two very different souls into their best selves. One of the best examples of this comes in Big Pink Loser. Patrick, feeling left out after realizing SpongeBob has dozens of awards while he has none, struggles with insecurity. Instead of laughing at him, SpongeBob immediately steps in to help. He cheers Patrick on, offering him encouragement at every turn. Even when Patrick fails hilariously at the simplest tasks, like opening a jar or cleaning tables, SpongeBob never belittles him. Instead, he gently pushes Patrick to keep trying. Though Patrick never quite matches SpongeBob's level of skill, the real victory is that SpongeBob helps his best friend feel valued. The moment Patrick receives an award for doing nothing better than anyone may be comical, but it is also sweet because it reassures Patrick that his unique qualities matter. On the other hand, Patrick helps SpongeBob grow by offering him courage in times of doubt. In the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, 2004, when SpongeBob loses confidence in himself after being dismissed as just a kid, Patrick stands by him. Though Patrick is not the most eloquent motivator, his unwavering belief in SpongeBob's abilities gives him the strength to keep going. During their perilous quest to Shell City, Patrick never leaves SpongeBob's side, no matter how frightening the challenges become. By being a steady presence, Patrick gives SpongeBob the courage to embrace his true self, not just as a fry cook, but as a hero. Another moment of growth appears in the Fry Cook Games. Here, Patrick steps out of his comfort zone, entering the competition against SpongeBob. Though their rivalry escalates into an argument, the underlying truth is that Patrick is pushing himself in a way he normally wouldn't. He competes, tries new challenges, and shows determination, qualities inspired by SpongeBob's energy and drive. While their fight causes tension, the eventual reconciliation reminds us that even conflict can lead to growth. Patrick may not be naturally ambitious, but SpongeBob's influence shows him that he can try harder than he ever thought possible. Likewise, in New Student Starfish, Patrick joins SpongeBob at boating school. His presence, though disruptive at times, teaches SpongeBob patience and resilience. SpongeBob, who is usually the one being encouraged, finds himself in the position of guiding Patrick, and, in doing so, learns how to adapt and handle frustration with love. Even in chaos, their friendship shapes them into better versions of themselves. Patrick also supports SpongeBob emotionally when he faces rejection or disappointment. In Christmas Who, when Squidward mocks SpongeBob for believing in Santa, it is Patrick who shares in his joy and excitement. His unwavering faith reinforces SpongeBob's optimism, protecting him from despair. Patrick's support reminds SpongeBob that he is never alone in his dreams, no matter how far-fetched they may seem. SpongeBob, in turn, helps Patrick discover his potential in surprising ways. In Patrick the Game, SpongeBob plays along with Patrick's homemade board game, even when its rules make no sense. Rather than dismissing the chaos, SpongeBob embraces it, showing Patrick that his creativity has value. SpongeBob's willingness to engage in Patrick's world validates his friend's imagination, helping Patrick see that his ideas matter, even if they don't always work in conventional ways. In Rockabye Bivalve, when the two friends take care of a baby scallop, SpongeBob's nurturing instincts help Patrick step into the role of a caretaker, however clumsy he may be. While Patrick initially shirks responsibility, the experience challenges him to grow, teaching him about teamwork, family, and the importance of being dependable. SpongeBob's gentle persistence encourages Patrick to rise to the occasion, even if his methods are less than perfect. The growth they inspire in one another isn't always grand or dramatic, is grand. Sometimes it's found in the quiet moments. SpongeBob's constant encouragement reminds Patrick to dream a little bigger, to believe in himself even when the world underestimates him. Patrick's calming presence reminds SpongeBob that failure is not the end, that it's okay to relax, laugh, and try again tomorrow. Together, they strike a balance between ambition and contentment, teaching each other lessons that neither could learn alone. What makes this growth so special is that it is rooted in unconditional love. SpongeBob doesn't push Patrick to change who he is, he simply encourages him to shine brighter as himself. Patrick doesn't pressure SpongeBob to abandon his dreams, he simply reminds him to breathe and have fun along the way. Their growth is not about becoming different people, but about becoming fuller versions of who they already are. As the tide rolls across Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob and Patrick often find themselves reflecting on their days together. For every jellyfish chase, every failed boating test, every Krabby Patty flipped, and every laugh shared, there is a subtle lesson learned. They may not always notice it, but each moment they share shapes them, moulding SpongeBob into a braver, more patient sponge, and Patrick into a more confident, creative starfish. Because at the end of the day, that is what true friendship does. It doesn't just entertain, it transforms. SpongeBob and Patrick are not the same as they were when they first met. They are better, kinder, and stronger because of each other. And as they look toward tomorrow's adventures, one thing is certain. With each passing day, their friendship will continue to help them grow, side by side, under the sea. Laughter, imagination, and loyalty may define much of SpongeBob and Patrick's friendship, but beneath all the silliness lies something deeper: selflessness. Over and over again, the sponge and the star prove that their bond isn't just about fun, it's about love. Whether through small gestures of kindness or great sacrifices, SpongeBob and Patrick consistently show that they are willing to put the other's happiness above their own. These are the moments that reveal the truest strength of their friendship. One of the most moving examples comes from the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, 2004. When SpongeBob loses all confidence in himself after being dismissed as just a kid, Patrick stays by his side every step of the way on their dangerous quest to Shell City. They face countless challenges, from monstrous beasts to ruthless bikers, but Patrick never once abandons SpongeBob. The most touching moment arrives when the two are trapped under a heat lamp, drying out and seemingly at the end of their journey. As the water leaves their bodies and their voices grow faint, SpongeBob and Patrick reach for each other's hands. They don't panic, they don't argue, they simply choose to face their fate together. And even in what they believe are their final moments, they sing the Goofy Goober song, turning despair into joy. Their willingness to face the end, side by side, hand in hand, is one of the most selfless and heartwarming acts in the entire series. Another beautiful example can be found in The Secret Box. For most of the episode, SpongeBob is consumed with curiosity, desperate to know what lies inside Patrick's mysterious box. He begs, schemes, and even tries to sneak a peek. Yet, in the end, Patrick never reveals the box's contents, ETM, because the secret is not really about what's inside. When SpongeBob finally realizes that Patrick values the box as something private and personal, he chooses to respect his friend's boundaries. This quiet act of selflessness / SpongeBob's decision to let go of his curiosity for Patrick's sake shows that true friendship means honoring what matters to the other, even if it goes against your own desires. In Rockabye Beevalve, when SpongeBob and Patrick take on the roles of parents to a baby scallop, their bond is tested by responsibility. SpongeBob takes on the motherly role, working tirelessly to provide for the baby, while Patrick assumes the role of the father. At first, Patrick shirks his duties, spending his time lounging under his rock. Yet, by the end, Patrick realizes how much SpongeBob has sacrificed for their family. In his own clumsy way, Patrick steps up, showing that he, too, is capable of love and care. The episode, though comical in its premise, ultimately reveals their capacity for selflessness, CAS, each learning to put the needs of another before themselves. Another tender moment occurs in Valentine's Day. SpongeBob plans a grand surprise for Patrick, a chocolate balloon delivered by Sandy, to show his friend how much he means to him. When the plan goes awry and Patrick grows upset, SpongeBob panics, desperate to make things right. Even when Patrick throws a tantrum in front of the entire Jellyfish Fields crowd, SpongeBob never turns against him. Instead, he scrambles to ensure that Patrick feels special and loved. In the end, when Patrick finally receives the giant chocolate heart, his face lights up with pure joy. SpongeBob's willingness to endure embarrassment just to make Patrick happy is a perfect example of selfless friendship. Patrick, too, has shown moments of deep care for SpongeBob. In I Had an Accident, when SpongeBob refuses to leave his home after a sandboarding accident, Patrick refuses to let him give up on life. He and Sandy concoct a series of increasingly ridiculous schemes, including the infamous gorilla costume, just to pull SpongeBob out of his shell. Though his methods are questionable, his heart is in the right place. Patrick cannot bear to see his best friend isolate himself in fear, and he will do anything, no matter how silly, to bring SpongeBob back to happiness. His actions show that love isn't always about wisdom or perfection. Sometimes, it's simply about refusing to let someone you care about give up. Even in their everyday antics, their selflessness shines through. In Christmas Who, SpongeBob pours his entire heart into bringing the joy of Christmas to Bikini Bottom. Patrick, loyal as always, supports him at every turn. He helps decorate, sings carols, and believes in SpongeBob's dream, even when others, especially Squidward, mock it. Patrick's faith ensures that SpongeBob doesn't lose hope, proving that selflessness isn't just about grand gestures, but about showing up time and time again. One of the most understated but powerful aspects of their friendship is how they forgive each other. Forgiveness is, in many ways, the greatest act of selflessness. SpongeBob forgives Patrick's thoughtlessness in I'm with Stupid. Patrick forgives SpongeBob's obsessive curiosity in The Secret Box. They forgive each other's mistakes in the Fry Cook games, every time they choose love. Over pride, they show that their bond is built on a foundation of selfless care. What makes these heartwarming moments so beautiful is that they are never performed for recognition. SpongeBob and Patrick don't set out to prove how much they love each other, they simply act, because love is second nature to them. Their selflessness is woven into their friendship so seamlessly that it often feels effortless, and yet it is these small, quiet acts of putting the other first that make their bond so inspiring. As the tide settles over Bikini Bottom and the stars twinkle above Conch Street, SpongeBob and Patrick can often be seen together, sharing a laugh or sitting in peaceful silence. Beneath the silliness, beneath the laughter, lies a friendship defined by selflessness, lies ours. One where each is willing to sacrifice for the other, where happiness is always shared, and where love is given freely, without condition. Because in the end, that is the true power of their bond. SpongeBob and Patrick don't just make each other laugh, they make each other better. Their selflessness reminds us all that real friendship is not about what you receive, but about what you give. As the waves roll endlessly across the ocean floor, some things remain constant. In Bikini Bottom, beneath the familiar bubbles and laughter, there is one truth that anchors the story of SpongeBob SquarePants, the unbreakable friendship between SpongeBob and Patrick. Their bond has been tested by jealousy, competition, fear, and even the occasional quarrel, but it has never broken. Instead, it has only grown stronger with each challenge, like coral that becomes sturdier over time. Their friendship is more than a series of funny moments or wild adventures. It is the very heartbeat of their world. Without Patrick, SpongeBob's days would lose their laughter. Without SpongeBob, Patrick's life would drift without direction. Together, they make sense of life, bringing colour and meaning not only to their own lives, but to everyone around them. Their love for each other is not bound by logic, success, or perfection. It is simple, pure, and timeless, the kind of friendship that endures through all of life's ups and downs. When we look back across their story, the pattern is clear. They began as childhood companions, their homes placed side by side as though destiny itself knew they belonged together. Their days filled with jellyfishing, bubble blowing, and imagination showed us the joy of living fully in the moment. Their loyalty, seen in episodes like The Fry Cook Games, Big Pink Loser, and even the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, He's Lined, reminded us that real friendship means standing by someone no matter what. Their ability to reconcile after fights proved that forgiveness is stronger than pride, and their adventures beyond Bikini Bottom revealed how trust transforms fear into fun. SpongeBob and Patrick balance each other perfectly. SpongeBob's determination and optimism lift Patrick when he doubts himself, while Patrick's calm and simplicity keep SpongeBob from losing sight of life's joys. They help each other grow, learning lessons about patience, courage, responsibility, and kindness. And perhaps most importantly, they are selfless, always willing to sacrifice pride, comfort, or safety for the sake of one another. These qualities make their friendship more than entertaining, they make it inspiring. What sets SpongeBob and Patrick apart from many other friendships in cartoons or stories is their unshakable innocence. They don't overthink why they're friends, or whether they should be. They don't keep score or measure who gives more. They simply love each other, without condition. In a world that often values complexity, their bond reminds us of the beauty of simplicity. Sometimes, all you need in life is someone to sit beside you, laugh with you, and believe in you, no matter what. Episodes like Valentine's Day, where SpongeBob goes to great lengths to make Patrick feel special, or Christmas Who, where Patrick stands beside SpongeBob to spread joy, highlight that their bond is built on celebration as much as sacrifice. They don't just support each other in hard times, they delight in each other's happiness. Their friendship is not reactive, but proactive. They actively seek to bring joy to one another. The final scene of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie offers perhaps the most profound reminder of their bond. When SpongeBob is crowned manager of the Krusty Krab, Patrick is there, cheering the loudest, celebrating not himself, but his best friend. His pride in SpongeBob's achievement is genuine and overwhelming, because true friendship means finding joy in the success of the people you love. It is moments like this that show us why their bond resonates with so many hearts across the world. Their story is timeless because it reflects something we all long for, a friendship that makes the ordinary extraordinary, that turns mistakes into laughter, that offers a hand to hold when life gets difficult. SpongeBob and Patrick remind us that growing up doesn't have to mean losing childlike wonder, and that true friendship is as refreshing as a sea breeze, simple, constant, and full of joy. As the sun sets on another day in Bikini Bottom, you can often imagine SpongeBob and Patrick sitting side by side on Conch Street. Perhaps they're planning their next jellyfishing trip. Perhaps they're blowing bubbles shaped like elephants. Or perhaps they're simply lying on the sand, gazing up at the rippling surface above. Whatever they're doing, they are doing it together, and that is enough. Because in the end, their greatest adventure is not jellyfishing, bubble blowing, or even saving the ocean from disaster. Their greatest adventure is friendship itself. And as long as there are waves rolling across the ocean floor, there will be a sponge and a starfish reminding us that true love, true joy, and true companionship never fade. Their tale is not one of perfection, but of perseverance, forgiveness, laughter, and love. SpongeBob and Patrick show us that friendship doesn't need to be complicated to be powerful. It only needs to be real, and in its realness lies its magic, a magic that makes their bond truly timeless.